Learning outcomes. At the end of this lesson, the learner will know how to build a lathe, run in block work to a line, and finish the joints on a block wall. Building a lathe. A lathe can now be built at each end of the wall. The first thing that we need to do now is to cut a block in half. What is the measurement for a half block? Remember that a block is 440mm long, and when a block or brick needs to be cut, an allowance of 10mm for a joint has to be made. So 2 half blocks plus a 10mm joint will equal 440mm.
One half. Two halves from one block, 215mm each.
Now when it comes to building the lathe, a bed joint is spread long enough for a block and a half. Lay the half block first, put on a cross joint and lay the full block. These blocks are now gauged, levelled and plumbed at the same time. The image there shows the lathe built up for the second course. We can see that the half block is on and the full block is on. Lathe built for the third course. If we look at the image now, we can see that the third course and the first course are the same. So the lathe is built, we'll lay 2 blocks on flat.
Remember, because the blocks are a bit heavier, you might have to bed it a bit deeper. So your bed could be up about 18-20mm. Try and line it up at this edge and with this edge here. And just put the cross down onto it. Out. Okay, so I'm going to check the gauge on this now. That's 215, yeah? That's pretty good for 225. So level across the top of it. It's pretty good for level there now as well. The reason why this is working is we took the time to make sure that we got our bottom course bang on level. So when we're putting the blocks on and we're keeping the bed joints fairly consistent, when you're putting the blocks on, you should be coming in pretty close to level as well. Okay? So I have that level, so I just have to check up a plumb now. Check up a plumb up along here. Okay. That's pretty good for plumb there. From the face. Go there. So I have to kick them back in there. Okay, there. Just going to check it here now as well.
See the way Joe has his foot on the bottom of the level, he's keeping it tight into the first course, into the face of the first course when he's plumbing up.
Pretty good. Now just range the two of these in. Make sure they're in line with each other.
So he's using the 2 plumbing points on either end there that he just plumbed up as a reference in order to range in. That means keep the rest of the blocks in line.
And then you just do a little cross range on it there where they're ranging from the plumbing point here, line there, and making sure all the blocks are taken off of there. Okay? So happy enough with that. Then just fill in the joint at the back. Small bit of mortar in here just to make sure I keep the blocks clean. Lay the block at the back of this, okay? Just a little tip for you when you're just here. I'm just going to cut that mortar there just at an angle like that, okay? I'll just cut that mortar at an angle like that. And the reason I cut the mortar at an angle like that, if I have it pushed up against that, when I put the block on, it's going to straight away start pushing the mortar against this. So I don't want to do that, so I just have it kind of angled out a bit, so that this block will just be pushing down. I'm going to put a joint on this end and this end, but I'm going to put them fairly thinnish, okay? Because if I make it too wide again when I put the block on, it'll start disrupting the blocks that I've already made. You don't want anything moving these now. So I'll just put the joint on here fairly thin. Again, when I put the block on, just watching, make sure I'm lining up the edges of the other blocks. Use this one here as a guide. Pretty level. Just check that it's level itself. Pretty good at it. Now, all you can do with the back of this wall here, at this point here, is just keep a check on it, okay? Dead plumb, because there's a difference in the thickness and in the width of the block. So what you do is you put this block on and you just check it for plumb, make sure the block is sitting plumb within itself.
Measure the 215.
Yeah, and you can measure across the 215 as well. So I'll check it for plumb this way. It's okay. Just going to check it for plumb in itself. And you can't plumb that end and that end because it's only the length of the block. So just keep it plumb this end here. And also just check to make sure that's. When I put my block on top of this, I want to make sure that it's sitting nice and flush. So that's there, that's gone for 215 there. Okay. Now, when it comes to filling in this joint, people often, they've taken the time to build the blocks, they've kept everything the right gauge, level, kept it rough, and then what you do, you get a load of mortar and start locking it down in between it, and when you're pushing that down, it just makes the block spread. So the best bet is, put a small bit of mortar into the top there, and then fill out this line like that, okay? Don't go chopping tons of mortar into it, okay? If you go chopping it, it's going to make them spread, okay?
Or another thing you could do is you could leave that joint until you have the other blocks on top built and then fill it in, so there'd be less chance of them spreading. Because when you have 2 blocks on flat sitting on top of that, then there'd be less chance of the ones underneath moving.
Again. Can you feel nails there? You might have to pick the wall up. So, we'll be looking now when I have it. I've got 225 there, I'm going to be aiming for 450. So 112 onto 225, I'm going to be looking somewhere in around 337, thereabouts. You don't have to be exact with it, but in around there would be good. As I'm putting it down, I'm just trying to watch to make sure I'm just dropping it lined up with the other blocks below. a level. Just the level in itself. It's a bit. I'll just tap it down a bit. Crossway. Now, I'll have to check up a plumb. It's okay for plumb there now. It's okay for plumb. I'm just going to check, I'm just going to range it from this point here down to this point here. Just make sure they're all touching off it. Yeah, I did an injection on top of that. Just making sure I get the mortar right out to all the edges of the block. I don't want to put the block on it, it'll just squeeze out. $4.50 for this one. Couple of mil high there, so I better give it a tap down. That's okay for $4.50 there now. Level her up. Level that way as well. Just take up the thumb now. That's pretty good for range right now as well. So, once you've got that far, what you do then is you do the stand, then we do the range, and then you just use your line like you did with the brickwork for running it in. Right? So I just need to get a bit of a stick there now, just stick.
Laying course 2. When the two lathes have been built, the line can be set up for the second course and the blocks are laid to the line, using the blocks below as a guide. The line is then raised for the third course of the blocks to be built. And once the third course has been completed, a lathe can now be built at each end for course 4. Once the lathe has been built, the last course can be run in using the line. If it was a case that this wall was going higher than 4 courses, you would just continue on building the lathe a block and a half with 2 blocks on flat on top of it all the way up till the wall reaches its full height. And here we have an image of the finished wall.